that's out there. I guess that means he's free and clear for you guys tonight. Will you go 11-7 with Zamula coming in the lineup?
Yes.
How are things going to roll out?
11-7.
Who's the forward out? Lazinski?
Lazinski.
Sorry?
Lazinski.
Harder in that.
Mm-hmm.
With regards to Zamula, how do you intend on using him in terms of partner situations?
Got the wrong guy. You got to talk to Shazi. He'll get ice time.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be bounced around.
Penalty kill?
Maybe. It's been a struggle, and I think a number of our D have struggled in the penalty kill. He may get some time. I'm going to leave it to Shazi, not being smart. But yeah, he's going to get moved around, especially with 7D. But we certainly want to get a good look at him in minutes.
Obviously, Brad's going to make those decisions, but you want to see him in certain situations for yourself. So when you have those conversations with Brad, is there certain things that I would like to see? Hey, if we could get him with
Nope.
a player?
Nope, I don't have any conversations with him. He'll get him in spots, and we'll evaluate that way.
John, does playing spoiler mean anything to you guys?
Nope.
No.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
We're just going to play our game, and as we have, just play hard. And I never talk about spoiling. I want us to continue to work in our game.
I guess by the same token, not in terms of spoiler, but Florida played last night.
Mm-hmm.
Does the impact of the other team being on a back-to-back, does that affect the way you coach, the way you roll lines, the way you strategize?
No. It comes up in the meeting, but sometimes I don't know. I think we talk our players into being tired in back-to-backs. Sometimes as athletes, and you can talk to athletes about this, when they play another game, after the first few minutes, they get into a good flow. It almost helps them. But we always talk about the other team played the other night and trying to get a good start and trying to grind, try to get the attrition of the game. So we talk about that. But as far as changes and strategy within the game, I'm going to coach the game to try to win, and it really doesn't come into play as far as back-to-back.
You talked a little bit about Cam York last week and kind of what you want to see improvements from him, both in his offensive game and his defensive game. You talked about him not necessarily being the biggest guy. How do you balance kind of telling him where to improve his strength versus wanting to preserve his speed and his legs? Are those conflicting things in your mind?
No. It's just it's adding how to use your stick. Because I think if he's going to play top minutes against top players, he is not going to be a guy that's going to be able to close people out and stop the play and kill the play. He's going to have to learn how to use his stick. I think with a young guy and him, just thinking of him, you got to be really aware of having your stick down all the time. That discourages plays through seams or through you or whatever it may be. It's a work in progress with him. So nothing is trying to take away anything from his game. It's adding to his game and teaching how to use his stick.
How long does that generally take? Just
no idea. Depends on the player. I think at times he's been good at it. Certainly very inconsistent still.
With regards to Owen, obviously he's back. He's going to play tonight. But his weekend, he obviously had a hat trick, then he had a couple assists. Was that him taking another step, or do you think that was just the culmination of how well he had been playing over the course of the previous couple of weeks?
No, I think he's growing. I think I said it the other day. I think mentally, he's in a spot right now that he thinks he can just do things. He just thinks he's a really good player, and I think he's just so much freer as far as his skating. He made a comment to me the other day. He says, "I just have so much ice right now." So he sees it, and I think when you start seeing it, you see openings and you burst your way into that and gain more ice. Happens a couple of times, and you say, "Man." And he's doing it more and more. You can see in the past 2 or 3 weeks, as each game goes, he's taken off more and more in those games and finding that open ice. So I just think he feels it. I think he sees it quickly on the ice right now and is taking advantage of it.
You mentioned over the last month about how you want him to play more of a power game. That's what you've been communicating to him. When you see him, in games, rather than take the shot when he drives to the net, do you kind of have to like hold
Absolutely.
the smile back a little bit as a coach?
In my mind, I counted one game and I told him the next day 3 times you brought it to the net. So I'm watching that absolutely. When I see that, I saw him the other day because I've talked to him about because he's turned some pucks over too where he just exposes it, and I talked about using his big frame to hold on to it, turn your back, hold on to it, and maybe use the weak side when we're trying to break out of our end zone. I watched him last game; he did it 2 or 3 times, and I am thinking that right away that he's listening. When there's other times when you tell a player and he does the same thing you don't want him to do, and I'm thinking he's not listening. So, yeah, I think Tip has accepted some of the things we're asking of him, but I think the most important thing, I think he's just got the right type of confidence right now in his game.
What do you think has been the key to building that belief or like cracking open that confidence now that wasn't there like earlier this season or last
With
season?
Tip?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the way it's going through experiences, going through tape, going through some failures as far as some of the things he's done, and he asks questions, very coachable. I think when you tell him something, I don't think there's any misinterpretation of what we're trying to tell him. That's important. I think he tries to do the things that the coaches are trying to help him with, and then we can get out of the way. A lot of things we're getting out of the way. Some of the things he does, we certainly aren't teaching that. It's the things that we think that are struggling in his game that he adds to it. That's what's been a good process to watch this player grow.
John, earlier in the season, you said you were maybe a little concerned about some of the younger players and how they would handle all the minutes as the grind got harder.
Yeah.
Are you impressed with how Noah Cates has kind of held up and
Yeah.
kept going?
Yeah, he just keeps going. I don't know how else to explain it. And a little concerned about some other guys that have faltered, I think, through being overplayed. But Catesy, he is probably the best player on our team as far as changing at the right time. Sometimes he changes too early for me. He catches me off guard. But I think he's very cognizant of, he knows he's going to be put back out there, and he changes at the right time. I think that's helped him this year.